certainly am happy to hear that the education chair said that he seeks no revenge and he wants to give this bill a complete and thorough debate. Mr. Speaker, I appreciate you sending it to two committees so we can have that, because I have never been more happy than I have not being a state senator as I have in this last week. I'm telling you, I have never seen such circus antics played out in the other side of this Capitol as I have seen in the last week. I've been here 23 years, not as long as some, but longer than most. And I know that we have shared and argued and debated different ideas and values on a regular basis. But for a body that has a 20-14 majority to form a committee of the whole to avoid a process because the leadership didn't believe they had the votes is just wrong. That's not a majority move. That's a minority move. That's what the minority does to try to get their voices heard. What came out of the Senate the other day is nothing more than revenge politics. Nothing more than revenge politics. Do you know the title of that bill is 3.5 pages long? Education in general? Are you kidding me? We've got turmoil once again going on in our education community. As we speak, strike votes are going on in every school in the state of West Virginia. The governor has asked for calm in the education community. I just can't believe it. The gentleman from the 16th talked to us yesterday, and he talked about that bill not having bipartisan support. And he said something that struck home with me. It has bipartisan opposition. And let me tell you one thing I've learned in my years serving in this distinguished body. Usually when you have a bill that's such a lightning rod that you can't get one person from the other side of the aisle to support you, it's probably a bad piece of legislation. We're representative government. We may come from different values and we may serve for different parties. You are getting the same emails I'm getting. I know you are. I heard the education chair across the hall saying she got lots of emails supporting this bill. Well, I'd like to see them. I challenge her on this floor today to bring them over here because I want to see them. Because I sure as hell haven't gotten any, Mr. Speaker. I sure as heck haven't gotten any, and I'm sure that most of the colleagues, regardless of what side of the aisle you're on, has not gotten them either. There's been no inclusion in this piece of legislation. If you talk to the AFT, the WVEA, the school service personnel, more importantly, the parents and the teachers, they didn't have a seat at the table. They didn't have a seat at the table. So what are we running? Model legislation to bring dark money into West Virginia to win campaigns? Look, I have a lot of faith and a lot of friends on that side of the aisle, and you have won your campaign, I believe, on your merits, and that's the way we should all run campaigns. But to craft legislation that I believe is only done for one reason, that's wrong. That's wrong. And I believe the parents do have faith in our education system in West Virginia, and I don't think it's as bad as people want to say it is all the time. Education has had a major impact on every one of our lives, or we wouldn't be here today. I only have a high school education, not one day of higher education. But I can tell you every teacher I had from the first grade, I could tell you every school cook I had, I could tell you every janitor I had, and I think it had a major impact on my life, just the same as it did on my friend's life if he's an attorney, or my friend's life if he or she's a doctor. We all took different paths in life. But our educators helped us form that path and find that path. And I think we have an 85% graduation rate in West Virginia. Maybe not the best in the country, but certainly we're not at rock bottom, as some people want to lead us to believe. I just get tired of hearing the BS. Let's talk about the truth, and let's let people come to the table and have their say. We can agree to disagree, but we should hear from everyone. No voice should be too small because they didn't give a campaign contribution or they don't have a PAC. No voice should be too small. Now, we made a move today, and I respect the outcome of that, but I think it also sends a message. I think it sends a message to West Virginia that we're not going to play the games that the leadership in the Senate played. And I think that's important. And I think it's important that we send that same message to our educators that we trust every day in the classrooms and our parents that we look to every day. This is not a circus. There's not 3 rings out here with a ringmaster. This is a government by the people. By the people. And the day we lose sight of that, we should take our names off the ballot. That's when our careers as a politician or a public servant should end. So, Mr. Speaker, I trust that you will vet this bill in a fair and efficient manner. And I hope and pray that we break this bill up and we let each of those measures stand or fall on their own merit. But to include a non-severability clause to say that someone can't challenge something which is their constitutional right in the courts, or you wipe out everything in the bill, that's wrong. It's just plain wrong. And I hope and pray that the House of Delegates has much more wisdom and much more compassion than the Senate did. And I rarely call out the other body. But this, Mr. Speaker, I believe people have been watching. I think they're highly upset with what happened over there. And I hope and pray that they look at the House and say, I'm glad you all just took the time to do things the way they're supposed to be done. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.